Yeah, it knocked me massively at the start. I think when I went to triathlon, I didn't expect it to be as difficult as it was. I think I assumed I could swim when I was a kid, that'd be easy to pick up. I was very lucky in that I did adapt to the bike really quickly. I think the strength that I gained from my mountain running gave me really good leg strength for cycling, and it's actually one of my best disciplines now in the three. So that bit was okay, and obviously the running was fine. But putting all three together, I think my confidence at the start was like, I am never going to be good enough at this, and I questioned myself on a daily basis, what am I doing? I'd given up my job, I'd given up my house, I'd moved to live away from my husband, away from my family and friends. I wasn't accepted on the programme by all the other athletes. So there were a lot of external factors that was really adding to me questioning, why am I here, what am I doing? And then I got injured, and it wasn't just kind of a little 2-week injury, it prolonged itself for about 18 months. I was constantly training in pain. It went from my foot, so it stopped me running, then into my back, so I had pain cycling, and then I had shoulder impingements, so I had problems swimming. So all the additional stresses that I was having, it eventually got on top of me, and I was like, enough's enough. I think I found out eventually that the pain I'd had in my foot for about 12 months had gone into a tear, and the tear in my plantar fascia was like the final straw. I thought, this is it. Somebody's telling me this isn't meant for me. I'll go back to what I used to do and back in my comfort zone, and back to my running and back to my house, and I'll be just as good at that. So I left there and I went and lived with my husband, and I kept my biking and my running going and kind of built myself slowly up again, and I joined a local swimming club because the swimming's always been the bit that I struggled with. And yeah, it was weird. I started to realise that, I do enjoy this. And I think because I was back at a lower level, I was swimming with a group of masters who there was no pressure on me. It was all, just turn up when you want, and just do what you want to do. And I think that really started my confidence, giving me my confidence back that I needed. And then I went into a race that year in 2011, the World Duathlon Championships. So there was no swim involved, it was just basically bike and run. And I went into it just elated to be on the start line because I'd missed the whole season through injury. I'd obviously left Loughborough and took myself off funding, so it was a bit of a tough time. And then I went and won the world title, so it was like, I am actually good at this. So that was like another confidence boost, and that really gave me the bug back that I needed, and gave me the belief back in myself. So then I started the triathlon again, and I did it kind of my own way through my own setup in Aldershot where my husband was. And then got some good results in 2012, won a World Cup, won the British Super Series in triathlon. And then I realised the next step, if I want to look at Commonwealth Games and the higher aspirations that I originally transferred to the sport for, it wasn't going to be good enough where I was. So then I joined an international squad with one of the world's best triathlon coaches, and
I think probably psychologically preparing is quite difficult to do. I mean, I remember when I was younger, I used to get really nervous before matches, and that's definitely not there as much as it used to be. And I don't think it's because it means any less as such. I think it's just probably because I've realised how to handle my nerves, and also maybe how to reframe the matches a little bit, so that your nerves normally come out of fear. I think fear of failure, and I think I've redefined some boundaries of what failure would be in my mind in terms of playing. So it's just a case of getting in that right frame of mind, making sure that I'm not thinking too much about results, and that I'm completely 100% focused on my game plan for that particular opponent, and little technical and psychological things that I know that I need to execute when I'm on court to get my best performance out. I think watching the difference between a confident and non-confident squash player would probably be maybe quite a lot to do with the rhythm of play that they were playing. I guess it would depend on how well you knew that player, but knowing certain players that, the more confident they are, the quicker they are between points, they like to move quick between serves. things like that. Alternatively, some obviously slow down, the more confident they are, kind of taking their time, really thinking about it, knowing what's working and doing that. So it depends on knowing the player. So I think it would be able to see it in the speed of play that's going on, and also by body language quite a lot when you're watching the girls play and the guys. Their reaction after they've hit a mistake or a reaction after they've hit a winner, how they react to maybe putting a good rally together and then not quite winning it, and being able to see how their facial expressions and their shoulders are with the body language when that happens. So yeah, I think it varies on the player, but you'd be able to see probably more by the momentum, what was going on and how the opponent responded and reacted to that.
Yeah, my last fight in Brazil, it was a very hostile environment, and I knew as soon as I got the email that about the fight there was going to be an hostile environment. So all I did for 3 months leading up to a fight, I visioned being booed, I visioned vision being booed really, and obviously it being a hostile environment. So when it actually came, in real life, it wasn't a shock to me. Obviously it's a bit of a bummer because you'd rather be getting cheered. But I visioned it all, and yeah, that didn't affect me in the outcome of the fight. I lost the fight first, where Ronnie Jason is a top fighter, and I think he'll be a champion one day. But yeah, the booing didn't have no concept of the fight. It was just that was it. But yeah, visioning everything around you. What visioning the future can help you in so many ways.
I've always been a competitive person, and I've always wanted to have an athletic physique but never known the tools how to do it. So I've always overtrained, trained as much as I can, eaten very little and never got the results that I wanted. Since I started working at the physio place after I graduated, my boss is a bodybuilder and he noticed that I wasn't training right, I wasn't eating right, and I was just looking very skinny for the amount of work that I was doing. So I followed a weight training program, followed a diet over Christmas for 4 weeks and stuck to it, and just saw like dramatic changes. And then since then, I was about a month after that, I noticed all these changes and decided I wanted to do a competition. Knowing that I could train how I used to train, which was a lot more than I was doing now, I cut it down a lot. Knowing that I could do that and eat as little as I was made me even more determined to do the professional bodybuilding and know that I would get the physique that I'd always wanted with the guidance from someone who knew what he was doing. So I took all my passion in how much I used to eat little into the competition prep. And then from there, I just got the best feedback and I won my first competition. And then I've just followed it up and carried on since then. And I've since qualified in about 5 competitions and I'm heading to the next one now. And I just think a strong-minded person is what I am, and I've always been competitive and it's just helped me along the way.